Hi, everyone. So today's live is going to be a very informative session for people like me who are trying to juggle family life and being an entrepreneur. And I am going to have Lucas come in live with me. He is a social media coach who I discovered recently on Instagram, and I have been using his tips and tricks. To grow my social media page as well as my brands, and they have been working wonderfully. So without waiting any longer, let's invite Lucas in. Hello, everyone. How are you all? Thank you so much. Hi, Lucas.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good over here. I
I
love
have
that
been pretty
introduction.
excited about this live because this is going to help so many people. So thank you for joining me. I have actually never really had an Instagram coach come in on my on one of my IG lives before. So thank you so much. It means a lot.
Oh, it's awesome. No, thank you for reaching out. And like I said, I love how you introduced that as, the tips that for busy entrepreneurs, but people who are also balancing family obligations, life obligations, everything going on. So I'm really excited for this chat.
Well, thank you. And tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into the world of social media coaching?
Yeah, so I started with my main job as a school teacher, an elementary school teacher here.
Oh, wow. I would have never expected that.
Yeah, that's what I hear quite often. But I do find that teaching, especially middle school, you hear about social media a lot. You really see what is trending and what's new because it's what all the students are talking about.
Yes.
The reason why you have to confiscate phones because kids have them in class, right?
Yeah.
So definitely kind of fell into social media that way, but also because of my own interests. And then from there, really just got into investigating the platform myself, but also on behalf of various brands and businesses as well, and just really seeing how this is the way to reach people nowadays, right? We see things changing all the time. No matter what your business is, you want an effective way to communicate and to have that open channel so you can stay relevant. And really just social media, Instagram being my favorite, but so many platforms out there are the way to do it. So that's just really what I've enjoyed talking about. And now keeping my education background, but educating on social media as well.
Well, that's amazing. And I totally agree with that because my own personal business, I have never had to advertise it through any channels other than it helping. I mean, it grew through social media. So I actually owe Instagram my entire life. Every little luxury that I'm living today is because of Instagram. It's because of social media. So, well, so without waiting, we already have a lot of questions.
Perfect.
I am so surprised. Like I have had so many questions for this live. So let's start. So whether it's a business or whether it's a personal brand means, an influencer who is starting out, who want to make themselves as a brand. What would be your 5 best tips when they're starting out?
The first thing I say, and this can change over time, and it will change over time, but always start with your elevator pitch. And I kind of, I'll take up 5 of those things I'll take up 3 of those 5 things with the elevator pitch. But really all it is a super concise answer to who are you, right? And for a personal brand, that's obviously going to be very different from a business. But who are you? How can you quickly tell someone who you are, right? What do you do? So what is it that you offer? Maybe that's the product or service that you sell. I prefer to say it as the solution you provide, right? Because people don't buy products and services, they buy solutions to their problems, or they buy the community behind it or the feeling behind it, right? So who are you? What do you do? And who do you do it for? That's very important in particular on Instagram because there are over 3 billion people on this wonderful platform here, and it's getting more and more difficult every day to find those people. So really have it locked down who you are meant to help, who you are trying to turn into customers. Obviously that can really vary. Maybe you're online and you have a bit more of a broad spectrum of people to reach out to. Maybe you're a local business and then you have this super focused community to really look at. But you really can't get into the really neat techniques of social media, the really effective stuff, unless you know who you are, what you're doing, what you're offering, and who you are going to serve, right? So that is huge. Really make sure you have that From there, the final two things I will say, just to kind of keep it simple, is try to watch out for what we call shiny object syndrome. And what that is every time a new feature comes out or a new platform comes out, right? We hear about it in the news, we get excited for it, we get told that we have to be using it. Reels is a good example, right?
Yeah.
So we've all heard Instagram Reels is the big thing right now. Everybody says if you want to get that reach, use Reels, do Reels. I always say, find a content format that you are comfortable with and be open to trying new stuff. But at the end of the day, stick to what's working. So don't just do Reels because everybody's telling you to, right? Especially if Reels just aren't, your most comfortable way of doing it, right? So I say try everything. Try stories, try lives, try IGTV, try videos, try carousels, everything. But at the end of the day, stick to what works for you, what you're comfortable creating, and what your audience seems to respond well to.
That's amazing. And I want to know in regards to this topic. So, for example, my business is in Dubai and we still don't have Reels over there. We don't have Reels in, I think, all of the Middle East. So what would you suggest for businesses over there? I know Instagram is really pushing Reels, because of which a lot of people are actually growing pretty fast. But for people like businesses like ours who still don't have it, what would you suggest?
That's where I think stories really come in. I love stories. I always say your main feed content, so like your images, your photos, even your video that you put into the main feed, that's how people come to discover you and find out about your content. But I say stories are really how people come to like you or to decide to buy from you, right? Stories are where we finally feel like we actually walked into a store and are seeing someone face to face and are chatting with them, even though we could be on the other side of the world, right? So stories are really that feature, I would say. And luckily, as far as I know, every feature for stories is available everywhere, which is nice. Instagram is really pressured to roll out Reels right now because they're trying to compete with TikTok, almost to their detriment, where they've tried to do it so fast in such a short period of time that I think it's actually quite unfair that they haven't equally, released these, right? They're adding new features to, let's say, Europe, right? And some places don't even have Reels at all, and new features are being released elsewhere. So I really think they need to get that together. And I know it does come down to a lot of licensing issues with the music. So that's a bit of a problem that I understand, but stories are pretty universally available, and they're a great way to show up as human for every brand or business.
And I would like to really emphasize on the fact here that we've been in business for 10 years and we've never really shown our faces because our cakes would do all the talking. But after seeing Lucas's recent story idea prompts, I have actually shown my face on my business, and oh my God, the response was phenomenal.
Oh, it's awesome.
We had, I would say, almost 5 times the viewership that we generally do. So thanks to you, that was amazing, and I'm definitely going to show up my face more now.
That's amazing to hear.
So let's move on to the next question. Are giveaways effective to grow?
So I do think they are. I think you really want to be strategic with your giveaways. Don't do them too often. Be careful with what the entrance requirements are for the giveaway, and try to have at least a foundation audience first. So once you have that, and a foundation audience can really be as little as, let's say 200, 250 followers. As long as they are engaged, people who are your target customers and will want to participate in the giveaway, then yes, they are very effective. Some base requirements, I always say, try to have some sort of sharing element involved, because giveaways, you really want that reach, that attention, right? So have something that can be as simple as tag 3 friends in the comments, right? That's a good one to, or even 5 friends, up to you. Get people to get others looking at this account so more people can enter, right? Because then if someone has to tag 3 friends, then those 3 friends, if they want to enter, have to tag 3 friends. And it really starts to scale and branch out from there. So I do think giveaways are effective. I always just say, make sure you are really honoring that giveaway and you are really keeping organized with it from there. But they're a great thing to do for sure.
Okay, awesome. And what would you say are the best social media management tools for businesses? I know that's a very broad question, but I'm assuming the person who asked it meant that, so that they could have probably all automate everything in one platform.
And this is actually a great question as of recently, because previously Instagram and Facebook, its parent company, that's all they gave us, right? They gave us a few platforms here and there, but they weren't really giving us much in terms of management tools. I think Instagram is trying, or Facebook is trying to kind of combat the third-party apps, the ones that are trying to do features for Instagram and Facebook, but not being under the umbrella of their company. So luckily, they've really stepped up their game. And while many management tools like Planoly and Later, they're trustworthy. There's nothing wrong with giving your information to them, right? Because those are massive companies that we can trust. It obviously is more comforting to keep it first party to the Facebook and Instagram, the products that they release themselves. So I really like Facebook Creator Studio to schedule all my content. It's called Facebook Creator Studio, but it works perfectly with Instagram as well. You and that's entirely what I use. It lets me schedule everything except stories, but stories are usually more in the moment anyways. I like to record them on the spot. But yeah, that's great for scheduling. I love to use that. In terms of my analytics, this one is not run by Facebook, but it's called Ninjalytics. So it's Ninja,
I've used that.
L-I-T-I-C-S. That one's amazing, right? Because I use the free version. Put in your username, or even a competitor's username, someone, a peer, anybody. Put in their username, and it will tell you how engaged their audience is. So even if, going back to our giveaway topic, for example, maybe you're partnering with someone on a giveaway, or someone says, hey, I'd love to do this giveaway. Let's get people to follow both of us to enter, right? That's a great partnership. But if you look at their account on Ninjalytics and their engagement rate is like less than 1% of their audience, you could probably see that they're trying to use you. It's better advantage for them than it is for you. So that's a great example. I love Ninjalytics for that. And otherwise, I use Canva to design everything. I love Canva.
Yeah, I know. And I think after looking at your tips on Canva, I've started using it more myself. So we have a lot of questions coming in, and I already have too many questions here.
I have two right here. That's funny.
I think we'll have to request Lucas to do a part 2 soon. But
Sounds
let's
good.
take in a couple of questions so that people... okay, so I have one in the question box. It's by Birdie Learning Academy. When you say engage with audience, what do you mean? Like, comment on posts, their stories? What exactly?
Yeah, and the individual who asked this question did a great job, actually, of highlighting how many options we have, right? So what I like to do, and this is what I call, no worries, this is what I call the stress-free daily engagement routine, because you do want to do it daily, but if you're reaching out to like 50 accounts, it's going to feel exhausting, right? You're going to stop feeling authentic because it's going to feel like you're just copying and pasting. Think about what it's like with real human interaction. If you have to introduce yourself to 50 people in one day, maybe the first 5 you'll be more cheery and happy, but when it gets down to the 30th person, you're going to be pretty exhausted. So I say take it in steps, right? And what I actually do, find 5 people who you already follow, right? And try to spread this around. You can even go up to 10, I find, 15, whatever you're comfortable with. But 5, 10, or 15 people, go comment on the recent post. Give them your support, because when you put support out there first, most of the time, don't expect it, but most of the time, people are going to give back that support, which is great. So go find 5, 10, or 15 people who you follow and support their recent post by liking and leaving a real comment, right? Whatever you want to put, that's going to really kind of make an impact on them. Do that. Then go through the hashtags, or go find other accounts in your niche and check their follower list, right? Who is following them? Find accounts that you don't know yet, who don't know you. Again, 5, 10, or 15 of those, and do the same thing. Go to their most recent post, like it, give an authentic comment, move on. After then, that's why I like this question, because it asked about stories. Go through your story queue. Watch a few stories. Again, as many as you're comfortable. Watch 5, 10, or 15. And when you feel like, oh, I like what that person said, or that's interesting, reply to it. Because stories are that immediate way into someone's DMs. And comments are easy to ignore, right? But DMs are where people have conversations, where you build friendships, you build connections, you get customers, whatever your goal is. Stories are that immediate way to get into the DMs, right? So, and if someone is sharing a story, they're practically inviting you to talk to them. They want to share something that you want to elaborate on. So I would just do that. So support people who you're already following. go find some new people who you aren't following, and then go to stories, which will be people you are following as well, and engage with them.
And how many accounts? I mean, it gets pretty exhausting. So like I said, for someone like me who's trying to manage so many accounts, how many accounts how many people's stories should I be watching per day to like keep my mental health to be sane?
I would do stories would probably be the lower of the three, right? So maybe five, right? Again, whatever you're comfortable with, and it's okay to skip stories, right? Like stories are pretty quick. It's like switching through the channels really fast on the television, right?
Yeah.
Just double tap, skip. If something grabs your attention, that's probably a good sign, and it's going to be easy for you to reply to.
Right. Okay, that's amazing. That's a great tip. Thank you so much. If anyone has any more questions, please drop them in the question box. We have okay, so we had that one, and then artist Nisha is asking, can the Facebook creator be used as a post planner? And yes, I mean
yes, which is what's awesome about it. Yep. Not a visual planner. So actually, that's why I posted about that today. I posted my own way I do a visual planner. So it's not like you can see the grid. Unfortunately, I would love to have that feature, but you can see a schedule. So they have a calendar view where you can click on that calendar, and it says, you know, whatever you title that post, it shows you the whole month, it shows you the whole week, whatever you'd like, and it schedules for you.
Okay, that is amazing. Guys, whatever questions, I know we cannot cover them all, but please hop onto Lucas's page. Okay, so I would like to tell a little appreciation about Lucas. I applied one of his tips, and what he actually did was, which is how we connected. What he did was he actually came onto my story or my post. He analyzed it from a personal perspective and not just like, oh, she's applied, you know, one of my tips. And he gave me feedback on the basis of that in a very personal manner. And I think that was one of the best ways to engage with someone. From that one little point, I myself learned a lot on how to deal with my clients in my business. So thank you for that, Lucas. I would also like to ask one more question that for a business who have automated responses in their DMs. So let's say a client is sending me an inquiry and I have an automated response. How would you kind of suggest, do we like kind of get to know them personally first, or because we've got so many inquiries in a day, you know, so how do we do that?
Yeah. And that's where it does kind of get difficult because, like you said, I always advocate for try to keep it as personal as possible, right? So not automated in the responses. But like you said, when you get to certain volumes, you kind of need to have something in place. One thing that Instagram just came out with in December that I really think is a perfect solution to this is they now have the frequently asked questions option. Okay. So when someone goes to DM you, they're automatic. If you set these up, you can pick the questions where it's like 5 or 6 starting questions. So it's like, what are your hours? What are your hours of operation? How can I place an order? Anything. You could have up to 5. Whatever you think the most frequently asked questions are. I will send you a post. There's a post on my page about it. Okay. But as long as you are a creator or business account, which most businesses should be, go into your settings, and where it says there will be a section for business options or creator options, whichever one you are. Okay. Click on it, and it should, I'm just checking on my computer, and it should say frequently asked questions, and then set those up. And I like that because instead of it being an automated, and like Birdie Learning Academy just said, I don't really like getting automated messages. Yeah. Instead of it being an automated reply, it's an automated question that they can ask. And then you or your staff can look for those and know how to reply, right? Well, that's amazing. That's something I've learned. I hope you all have learned. Send that post to me and I'll share it onto my stories, and you all can have a look at that. Okay, let's get on to the other questions pretty quickly. So I think, how can one get story ideas for effective stories? I'm going to answer this, please. Perfect. Love it. Lucas sends prompts every Sunday or Monday for story ideas, and I have used quite a few of them. And like I said, those have exploded the engagement on my personal page and on my brand's page. So do go and check Lucas's story prompts out. They're the best I've ever seen. And I plan those just by keeping it super casual, right? Like you said, invite those. How do you come up with the ideas? A big part of it is my teaching background. Like when I would have my students, we'd have like daily journal prompts, right? So many of them are just journal prompts I've brainstormed over the years and collected that I've now kind of changed up a little bit to be more social media based. But yeah. Right.
Oh, well, that's amazing. So, guys, do go and check them out. They are very effective. Okay, so how to effectively use the whole of Instagram? I think you've already kind of said this that, use Reels, use IGTV, use everything that you're comfortable with.
Exactly. Comfort being a huge part. Find what works for you. Try everything, but find what works for you and stick to it. Don't try to do everything and anything.
And I think Lucas has had a post recently about this where it says that how many IGTV or how many reels or how many posts you should be putting up every week. So do go and check out that post because that really puts things into perspective as to where you should be spending your time more.
Yes.
Okay. Is it important to remove followers that are inactive? And how can a business know that they are ghost or inactive followers?
This is a great question. And I've actually recently, in the last few months, changed my perspective on this because I have a good community of people who are even bigger accounts than I am. And we share our perspective. We've come to the conclusion that it is not a worthwhile use of time or concern to remove ghost followers. So
Really?
if you have people, if you have people who are spamming you and spamming your posts, it's a different story. Okay. Block them, right? But if you have just kind of, let's say, people like again, ghost followers or like silent followers, people who don't engage on your stuff, and even sometimes they might not even have like a profile picture, so they look like they are just a spam account or a bot account. There are a surprisingly high number of people who, just kind of like to consume content on Instagram and don't necessarily like to put themselves out there, but they can still become customers, which is something I realized when I launched my product, actually, my calendar. I was very surprised how many people bought it who I had no previous communication with, and their accounts were actually looked like they were almost bot accounts. So in hindsight, if I had deleted them before, I would have lost so many potential customers, right? So it is not a good use of time to go in and delete ghost followers or anything like that. The Instagram algorithm, the great thing about it is if someone is a bot account, every few months they do a clean sweep anyways, and they'll delete most bot accounts. So that kind of does it for you. And secondly, if people aren't engaging, or they're not active on Instagram, they just won't be shown your stuff. So Instagram shows your stuff to the most engaged audience anyways. So they kind of handle it for us, which is good.
Okay. And I think I would agree to that because most of my clients, we're in the Middle East, and most of my clients, especially Arab women, they don't really show their faces, but we have a lot of clients who have no profile pictures, and I'm always scared to kind of clean out my account. So I never do that. So that is very helpful. Thank you, Lucas. We're going to take a few questions. There's so many coming in.
It's a great audience, by the way. Thank you, everybody.
No, yeah, I know. Thank you. This is amazing. I was not expecting these many people. Okay, so Purple Swan DXB is asking, I literally post stories every single day. Is that too much to post? Do people really get bored?
That's a good question. Again, people can get bored, but people can get bored of our regular content too, right? It's all in how you do it. And I will say stories are the top priority I would place on how you should show up every day. So I think stories are great to show up every single day. So that's awesome you are doing it. But going along with that, try to be analytical of how people are receiving or responding well to your content. And a great way to do that is when you're posting stories, I always say try to keep it under 45 seconds if you can per story. And when we post, we get those frames, right? So one frame is up to 15 seconds, then it goes to the next frame and whatnot. So if you keep it under 3 frames, that'll be about 45 seconds max. Try to do that because any longer, unless it's really engaging, you start losing people's attention, which attention is the most valuable thing on social media. So try to keep them short. With that being said, if you're already posting every day, that is awesome. That means you have so much data to look back in. So go look at your stories and swipe up from the story to look at the insights. It'll say if people are skipping forward or if they are, skipping to the next story or leaving. If you're seeing a pretty high proportion of those, try to shorten it, try to do something a little bit different, and see if that goes down. So really just put out the content. This goes for anything, stories, reels, main feed posts, right? Put out the content, and your audience and your insights will tell you where to go with it, what you need to change, what you need to keep doing, right? Because that's where you really want to see things go. If it's looking like you're getting a lot of good reviews or maybe tons of good responses to your story, post more like that because people are telling you they like it.
And that is something I will tell you from personal experiences, because there was a time I started talking a lot on stories because I was seeing everyone doing it. And then my mom actually stopped seeing my stories. And I asked her one day, why aren't you seeing my stories anymore? And she's like, you talk too much. And that's when I reduced. I made my talking like just one story, which is just 4 frames. And I don't talk more than that unless I really need to. So yeah, that's a great tip. Thank you, Lucas.
I had students at school have to tell me that in person. They'd put their hand up. They'd be like, I think you're a little off topic from the lesson. Can you go back to teaching us math? And that's when I knew there was really that was when I really knew there was a problem. I was talking too much.
Yeah. So, well, the next question is by Travel D Hun. Without showing face as a girl, it's easy to engage, but not worth even if content is not good. So, what tip I mean, there are a lot of my followers, and like I said, we're from the Middle East, so they don't show face, especially women. So, what tips can you give?
And again, I still think you can be very effective with stories not having to show up on camera. Even as a teacher, I didn't want my students finding me. So for years, I didn't have my face or any really representation of me on my account, and I was still able to grow. It just means you kind of have to step it up a little bit with the prompts and the conversation starters. So like you mentioned before with, I believe you said with your bakery, right?
Yeah.
You would just show very visual footage of whatever it is, right? What the product is. Yes. And that's obviously a very appealing medium already because you have all these different products, right? That people love to see. Yeah. Food's a great one for that in general. But really just think about the visual content you can show. And that can be just from a video of you recording something. You can still take people along and videotape, but not show your face, but speak in the background so that they still feel that human connection. Yeah. These are all great things you can do. But where I said about stepping up the engagement, really use those stickers. So the story stickers are a great tool that make it fun and easy to engage. So if you want to really grab someone's attention or get someone to interact with your story, put a Q&A sticker, right? Or put even the little slider sticker or multiple choice. And just make it fun like that, and you can totally have some great story engagement without having to show up on camera.
Okay, well, that's great. I hope that works for all the women who can't show their faces. Okay, so we have a question from Nidhi Talwar. Please advise on Instagram sponsored ads.
There it is. So Instagram sponsored ads, I'm assuming this means, and please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I'm assuming this means when Instagram offers for you to promote your post, right? Because every once in a while, Instagram, if we're a business or creator account, Instagram will try to get our money. So they'll give us that little notice saying, hey, this post is doing really well. It can do even better if you want to promote it, right? And then we have the option to promote it. My big advice for that is, first of all, the better way to do it is to do it through Facebook Ad Manager. That's because it's going to give you way more targeting options and who you can deliver it to, what your budget can be. If you just hit promote on Instagram, it's extremely limited. But if you go to Facebook Ad Manager, you get all the same options to promote your Instagram posts, but you get to really choose who it goes to, for how long, and where it goes to really in the world, which is really neat. So I would do that. But again, only if you have a really good understanding of how it works. It can be very complicated, right? Which is why Instagram tries to give us this easier option. Yeah. But the main thing I always say is if you are promoting a post, don't just do it for more visibility. Don't just do it for more followers, for more people to find you. There are much better organic ways to do that, like some of the ways we've kind of mentioned, right? Just give away good value, do giveaways, things like that, get people to share your content. Those are much better. If you are doing a promotion, make sure it's tied to some sort of call to action. So maybe you have a new offer, you just launched a new promotion that you're trying to sell. Maybe you want people to sign up for your email list to take advantage of your free product. Those are really the only reasons you should consider promoting something. If it's just for visibility, you might get increased likes, but you rarely convert followers or actual customers from just doing this. Yeah. And I absolutely agree to that. I have used that in my own business and it has increased likes, but I don't think those have necessarily converted into followers. Yes. Okay, so we have, wow, there are lots of questions here. Sony Phoenix, for stories, suggest effective ways to start. Sonia, Lucas's
Sunday, Monday prompts for stories are very effective. So go and check his page out. You will love his story prompts. I'm a makeup artist. I'm still not very comfortable talking to my audience, but I do post my tutorials. Does it make a big difference? I think speaking is definitely going to add in a lot more of a personal touch. Definitely.
Yeah, people want to connect with other people, so it definitely really helps. Again, even if you're not ready to show up on camera, or if you never want to show up like on face on camera, that's fine. But throwing in that voice really does help. It's like a muscle, right? You got to just practice, and you'll get more comfortable. Yeah. For a while, I used to just pick like a 2-minute random topic, kind of like these story prompts, and I would just record myself, talk about last night's basketball game for 2 minutes, and then I would just watch it, give myself some feedback, and then delete it. And then I learned that way.
Okay, well, that's great. I hope that helps you, Nisha. Okay, so the next question is, my reel reach has gone really low. Is something up with the algorithm?
Nothing in particular, but reels can really be all over the place. The main thing I will say, reels, to really get that explosive reach, you want to have the video that someone is going to watch multiple times. Or if they're not watching it multiple times, they're at least watching it entirely once. So really look through those reels. And I apologize if you're already doing this and I'm just missing some things, but really look through those reels and see, am I pausing for too long? Am I taking 5 seconds more than I need to set up the story or to set up the topic, right? Am I having something on screen for even 2 seconds too long? Any kind of pause that is unnecessary, that is going to give your audience a chance to lose interest and move on to the next thing, is really going to hurt your reach. So the best way to have a good reel that's going to explode on the Explore page and get that really good reach is to be short, be concise, only use as much time as you need, and try to make it engaging the whole way through.
And I think this was suggested by you, if I'm not wrong, that the first 3 seconds are the most captivating when it comes to reels. So try to engage your audience in the first 3 seconds. Okay. Lucas, Rebel Bunny Official is asking, when will we see Lucas with a beard, with a dope beard?
Oh,
I want to know that too. You look so different with a beard. I never imagined you to look like that.
And this is a great example of why stories are so fun, because I completely took for granted that nobody in this community had really come to know me with my beard, because I only joined last March, and I think last February, but just about a year ago, I completely shaved my beard and changed my appearance overnight quite drastically. But nobody in this community ever knew me that way. So it was funny because I received so many story replies to that. And it just goes to show that the fun, personal things are really how you want to use stories, right? Because now, again, there's a great question from Rebel Bunny. That's someone who now associates me with that funny story. I'm more on mind. So that's a great thing to do with stories. That's a fun example of that question.
And I agree with that question. We need to see that beard back. My eyes just popped when I saw that story of yours. Okay, so so Lucas, what's the most effective way to batch content?
And this is great. Batch content creating, if anybody's not sure in the audience, is basically you try to create, instead of just doing one post every single day and waking up that morning and scrambling to get that post done, because that's where we sacrifice our quality. Batch creating is, when you have the ideas flowing, you're in a good state to really be productive and creative, you do as many posts as you can. What I like to do, typically on a Saturday or a Sunday, wherever you can though, set aside maybe 2 hours if you can, block off time so you know how much you're going to have, set a goal to create that many pieces of content, and really from there it comes down to having your systems and your templates in place. This is why I love Canva, because I can have 3 or 4 templates for my content that I just rotate through. And since my topic is changing, what I'm showing is changing, right? But the layout is the same. I don't have to waste time thinking of that layout. I know where to put those words on the page because my template is good, and I can quickly just insert it, schedule my content, and go. That's what I would just suggest. Go through Canva. Think about your brand palette, your brand colors, which I spoke about today, right? Find what you want for a nice unified theme. Find 3 or 4 templates that are going to fit that, and then rotate through them, but change obviously the subject matter and the topic. And that's a quick way to batch create.
And I would also recommend you all to go and purchase Lucas's content calendar. I have purchased that for my business. And honestly, like every morning or every week when I plan my content, I don't have to worry about it anymore because there are so many ideas in there. So do go and check that out. It will truly help you with your
Thank you.
business. Okay. So again, I think we've already answered this, but how to optimize Instagram sponsored ads? So we've already answered this, how to target the right audience. I'll save this in my IGTV, and it's going to be up on my YouTube channel as well. So then you can see this. Do you want to answer it again? I mean, I think we've already answered.
Ads aren't even really my specialty. I'm really big on organic reach, and I truly do believe that with Instagram, when you're first starting out, especially, obviously when you have more revenue coming in for the business, you can put more money into ads just like you would for traditional ad spend, right?
Yeah.
But I really think Instagram, when done right, it's still a great platform for organic reach. Organic means unpaid, right? Just taking advantage of the algorithm and good content. So I don't specialize on it personally.
Okay, that's great. Hi, Seema. Glad to see you here. Okay, so do we have any? Okay. Okay, what are engagement or comment pods, and are they helpful? Oh my God, I get this question so much.
This is a good question, and it's scary that people are still asking this because I understand why, because they do seem very appealing. Shortcuts in general are very appealing, especially on Instagram. When I will tell everyone right now, the hardest part on Instagram is those first 500 followers, right?
Yeah.
The first 200 followers, even until you really build up that really core group, that core community, that core audience, it feels really slow and it can be very discouraging sometimes. And many people find that like engagement groups become appealing. So I just noticed the question asked what they are. So I will quickly address that. Basically, engagement pods or engagement groups are a few people either in the same niche, maybe not. They'll get together in the DMs. They'll add like 6 or 7 or more people to a common group conversation. And basically the agreement is whenever someone in the group posts, they share their post to the engagement group conversation. Everybody gets a notification. They quickly open that post and go leave a comment on it to kind of support each other. Typically, and more often than not, this is why I don't like them. Those people in there are really only looking out for themselves. It is not an authentic way to grow, right? If you have friends, you can totally DM your friends and say, hey, can you please support this? And that's a different story. That's good. But people who set up engagement groups are looking for shortcuts because they just want to grow their own account. So they will typically leave very inauthentic comments that usually people can tell are from engagement groups, right? They're not really going to take the time to genuinely give you feedback and support you. So anybody coming in who's not in your engagement group, the actual real followers and customers, they're going to look at it and they might actually be discouraged because they're going to say, this comment is very weak. I think someone is probably just getting these from engagement groups.
Right.
And on previous, and I'm speaking from experience because on previous accounts of mine, I've been in engagement groups. When I had a basketball account 5 years ago, and I did every terrible trick in the book to try to grow it.
Yeah.
And in the long run, the account, I had to disband it. It got nowhere because I built up such a non-sturdy foundation because I used engagement groups. I used follow for follow and unfollowed those people later. And ultimately, by the end of it, I had 5,000 followers, but none of them knew who I was. None of them wanted to support me. And it was a weak foundation that I couldn't really sustain. So I say don't do them. Instagram also has told us they know when, if the vast majority of your post traffic is coming from the comments, from the DMs, they have a way to recognize now, and they've said this, that it's an engagement group. So I wouldn't do it.
Okay, well, so I hope that helps you.